Representative Ibrahim Babajide Obanikoro. I represent Etiosa Federal Constituency in the Center of Excellence. Mr. Speaker, Ibrahim Babajide Obanikoro is my name. I rise this morning to contribute to the budget debate, and I want to seek your permission and protection to read this brief note that I wrote to compose myself so as not to lose my sense of thought. Should I go ahead? Okay, thank you. Mr. Speaker, the budget of economic growth of sustainability of 2002 presented by the President on this floor is a laudable budget, and it seems it will live up to expectation of our people if implemented judiciously. Mr. Speaker, I say this because almost if not all ministries, agencies and departments have increased allocations. This means we mean business. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Defense allocation of 1 trillion naira plus is commendable, especially with the level of unrest we are currently experiencing as a nation. Mr. Speaker and dear colleagues, you will agree with me that Nigerian police force are the most visible security agencies in our daily lives. Sir, you would agree with me yet again that the state of our police force can't be referred to as one of our pride and joy as a nation. One of the reasons isn't too far-fetched. The allocation of 555 billion is a far cry from what the force needs. Mr. Speaker, a visit to any of the police barracks will convince you. Mr. Speaker, I have friends who are officers at different times and have sought for assistance to purchase new uniforms, as some of them can't have and never have given new ones after they were recruited. I don't want to flog this issue too much, but I believe that the Nigerian police force can benefit from part of the 160 billion allocated to Ministry of Communications. I noticed that the capital expenses of Ministry of Communications increased by over 1,000%. This is not to reduce the importance of communication, but the Committee on Communication needs to vet this capital project. Mr. Speaker, I also see that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is underfunded. Allocation of 85 billion with today's exchange rate is only about $147 million. We have over 50 foreign missions abroad constantly complaining year on year about being underfunded. And that's one of the reasons that the services are below par, far from standard international practice. Mr. Speaker, also the Ministry of Mines and Steel is like a beautiful bride awaiting her groom. I'm not sure 23 billion naira is sufficient for ministry to pay salaries, to mine, explore across Nigeria, and carry out their activities under their purview. Ajaokuta Steel is a company said to be a game changer. When it takes off, that will increase our IGR with about $100 million and set us on the path of less borrowing. We need to look into this ministry's allocation. Speaking of borrowing, sir, I align myself with the argument that borrowing to pay salaries isn't sustainable. Mr. Speaker, you will agree with me that the education is one of the bedrock of any nation. I think we can allocate more funds to Ministry of Education to operate with. Our unity schools and federal universities are retrogressing in standard. My alma mater, King's College Lagos, is not spared. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, they say health is wealth. Without good health, all these debates won't be happening. Last year, as the year before, I stood on this floor to speak on the increment of the amount being allocated for health. Yes, a few more billions have been added to the 2002 allocation in comparison to 2021. But of course, as an Oliver that I am, I ask for more for my people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Long live Nigeria. God bless my colleagues.
Federal Constituency of Lagos State. First, I want to commend Mr. President for the timely presentation of the budget. This will definitely assist us as a parliament to work on the budget, and keep our promise to Nigerians that the budget of the national budget will be passed before the end of every year during the night assembly. I noticed that in the budget speech of Mr. President, some rail transportation projects, like the Lagos-Ibadan, Abuja, Kaduna, and Ajaokuta rail line projects have been completed and being put to use. This is commendable. However, Mr. President promised in the speech that the Calabar-Lagos coastal rail line, which is expected to connect the southern states of the country, will soon commence. I urge Mr. President and the relevant committee to ensure that appropriate fund is provided to ensure that these projects commence as early as possible, such that they are completed before the end of the tenure of this administration. Mr. President also spoke about the progress being made.
I think you should use your voice because some people may not understand that noise.
Okay.
No, it's the Chief Whip. Chief Whip is hitting the microphone. What he's trying to tell you, Chief Whip, just say time off when it's time. Just say
time off.
I've not started, Mr. Speaker, sir.
No, no. From yesterday, and it's by our rules too. We have a 2-minute
it's all right,
time.
I've just spent 30 seconds. Thank you, sir. Okay. Now, there was also the issue of the power projects, and one important project that was provided for in the budget is the transmission line between Omotosho, Epe, and Aja. This project started since 2012, and it has remained uncompleted. I urge the Committee on Power to work with TCN to ensure speedy completion of this project, because it is of economic importance to all the states that are connected by this power line. Now, one other issue that is of concern is the lamentation of Mr. President in the speech that the revenue, or the country's oil revenue, declined majorly due to deductions by the NNPC in recovering the cost of importation and distribution of imported petrol. I believe that this has been a cause of concern to most Nigerians, and we should scrutinize the deduction being made by NNPC to avoid revenue leakages. And finally,
time off.
Finally, on the issue of the exchange rate, the exchange rate, that naira to dollar, in next year's budget is put at 410.